Hey, sports fans. This is John Kuntz, Athletic Director at Sussex County Community College, and welcome to the Skylander sports scene right here on WRSK 97.5. My guest today is Todd Poltersdorf. He's currently the Director of Admissions at Sussex County Community College, but he's also a longtime baseball coach here at the college in the late 90s and up to 2011. So welcome to the show, Todd.
Thanks, John. It's a pleasure to be here.
So let's take a little walk down memory lane here. You coached for over 15 years at the college. There have been a number of players that have come through during your time, memorable players from the county and the local area. You had some great success while you were here, but let's talk about who jumps out in your memory of players that played for you.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, John. First of all, before we even get into that, I was blessed with some great coaches, Bernie Nowitzki and Rick Roeder, Mike DeBosch, Jeff Sponder, and Ramadan, who's the current head coach now. So I've been blessed with that. So with those guys, I think we did a great job of building a program here. But it really started our first year where we laid the groundwork, and we had kids like Stefan Zacella, who was a good baseball player. And, we had 13 kids that first year, and we ended up winning 3 games the entire year. We had an 18-game losing streak. But Stefan was so good because he kept the spirit high. He really was one of those first kids to help lay the foundation, and those first 3 years was really the building block of our foundation as far as recruiting more local kids. And then we were able to get players in here like Marty McPhee and Rick Roeder. And, those guys really took us to that next level. In a 3-year period, we moved our Division III program into the playoffs. We made it deep into the playoffs, and then that fourth year we moved into the Division II level, and we started to be able to offer scholarship. And it really was that second or third class when we offered scholarship. The kids from Newton, Charlie Monroe, Mike Haggerty, Billy Siska, those guys really carried us to the next level and really started to make us a force to be reckoned with. In that time frame, we were always a very good offensive team. We were always ranked in the top 10. We always did great things. But once we got that Monroe group in, we really started to change things defensively and pitching. So those guys were huge assets to us and really helped us build the program to where it was when we left in 2011.
Yeah, you mentioned Stefan Zacella. I remember him because I was here as well back then. And it kind of makes you think, we're talking now over 20 years ago, how some of those players that were on your early teams came here to Sussex County Community College, basically took a chance, on the college and on the baseball program. Mm-hmm. And now we're talking about them 20-plus years later and wondering or maybe knowing what they're doing. How did things turn out for a young man like Stefan Zacella, and some of the other names you mentioned?
I think the greatest thing for me coaching is we had success on the field, but more importantly, it's about the relationships that you build. I've had a lot of players come through the door, and I can proudly say that I keep in contact with a lot of those guys who have played with me in the past, and it's almost like we're a family. There's not a day that goes by that I don't think of them or I don't run into them. Most of those are, they're in the education world as teachers. We had almost 15 former players who are head coaches at the high school level. It's just those, they're future business leaders, they're police officers. And I think that's the thing I'm most proud of is they believed in us as a program. They bought into the college atmosphere, and they were able to succeed not only on the field, but in the classroom. And then that takes over being successful in life. And it's a pleasure to be able to know them and see where they are now with families and moving through their part of their life. So it's a huge accomplishment.
Yeah, it's so true. I see a number of them too. Not only baseball players, but other athletes that have played for us here at Sussex, who have turned out to into the community and are giving back now themselves and working jobs and having families and so on and so forth. And it is nice to see. It's great to win championships and things like that. But we're about developing young men and women, athletically and academically here at Sussex. Well, during your time, you were runner-up 3 times in the region championship. I hate to bring that up. I know that probably is a sore spot. In 2000, you had a run there for 3 years in a row, 04, 05, and 06. I know the competition in baseball at that time in Region 19, as it is today, is extremely strong. You won 2 Garden State Athletic Conference championships in 2000 and in '06. Think back to those years, when you were having that success. How did that happen?
Well,
how did it develop?
As I said earlier, it started really with that Monroe class, which then led us to being able to recruit outside of our area. So we started to get more kids from Morris County. Kids were hearing about us. They were hearing about the program, but the coaching staff and the direction, how we coach and how we teach and how we really stay on them academically. And then we started to get better talent. And when you win, it's because you have pitching. In those early years, maybe they had 1 or 2 guys who could throw and keep us in ball games. By the time we got into that stretch run there, our pitching staff was 8, 9, 10, 11 deep as far as quality arms that could keep you in ball games. So people like Bo Kuntz and Brad Gilliard, those guys really set the tone for us moving forward. And then we got into those really good years where we started to get kids from outside the area, J.D. Broderick, Emil Fuda, to name a couple. And then they just even catapulted us even further. So we never really changed philosophically. What changed is our program became much more popular outside the state and outside the world, really, because then we got into international recruiting. So for us, it was really laying that foundation in the early years and then, getting the better quality student athlete coming in. The 1 year we had the lead in 2 of those 3-year run, we had the lead going into the 9th inning and unfortunately lost both of them. But I attribute the kids the hard work, the dedication, not only by my staff, but by the kids who've come into the program.
How did you get to attract? I imagine early, the first couple of years, you're just trying to get numbers, just trying to put, uniforms on bodies, try and have enough pitching to get through the season. You said you went through an 18-game losing streak, won 3 games your first time. Your first year, and I think a lot of young coaches, go through that when you're trying to develop a program, and then you get a breakthrough, with a key player, a Charlie Monroe type player that can impact the game in so many ways. How did the recruiting philosophy change then, as far as going after top-notch players?
Well, I think it's 2 steps here. The first step is we realized our first year, we had a fall ball team, and we had like 30 kids out that first year that we were coaching, and we had a great fall ball. We had 20-something wins in fall ball, but we realized after the grade report come in that we lost half of our team, actually more than half of our team. So right then and there, we realized that we have to develop a policy and a process to help these kids get through the school area. So once we've developed a plan with tutoring and study halls and mentoring and academic reporting, that turned over to now developing the kids and moving them on. So once we got after that 3rd year, we started to move our kids to great levels, Division I, Division II, Division III schools. So once you've accomplished getting them academically sound, and then going out and saying, I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you come to us, do really well, do well in the classroom, do well in the baseball field, and we're going to get you to the next level. And I think the thing that I'm most proud of, I kept a diary in my 18 years coaching here, and I wrote down the schools that the kids went to and if they graduated and if they didn't graduated. So before I came on the show, I flipped through that diary, and we had almost a 97% rate of kids who came to us and moved on to 4-year schools who graduated those 4-year schools. So it's a building process. It's a step-by-step, and it's getting kids to believe in you as a program and as a coach that they're going to be able to move on. And I think once we've established that and we laid the groundwork, we were able to get those better kids in. And then the other part was we became a scholarship sport. So now we could attract that really, really good player and give them some financial assistance. And with those things in place, that's really catapulted us into being one of the toughest programs in the state, I think.
Yeah, I think when players see you have that little bit of a breakthrough, and maybe you catch a break here or there, and you start winning some ball games and they start seeing success, then they see it as an opportunity, a real opportunity for them to come and play, whether it be baseball or basketball or soccer, whatever sport it is, here at the community college, and a good opportunity for them to, at the very least, extend their career and the opportunity to get their associate degree. And what we're trying to get them to do is to get them to the 4-year level so they can get their baccalaureate degree and move on in life.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a great point. And I think the other piece to that puzzle is, in my 18 years of coaching, we only missed the playoffs 2 years. So we always went into the playoffs. So we always prepared our team to play better as you get deeper into the year. And that paid because we entered the playoffs. And I never had a year where it wasn't back-to-back that we didn't make the playoffs. So all those things, like you said, are getting those kids to come in, quality program. They know they're going to be in the playoffs. They know somebody's caring for them academically. They know somebody's moving them on to the future. That really just, we started to pass programs who had great programs before us, and that really was a huge accomplishment.
Yeah, I think the fact that you had that kind of run and that kind of success with the playoff, everybody likes to be challenged, and they want to be on a winner, and it doesn't always happen, but at least they want to have the opportunity. And you produce teams that you gave the kids the opportunity to have that kind of success and play in region tournaments and region tournament finals and in big moments and in big games so that they can challenge themselves. You mentioned a number of players recently that you had coached back then, and it floods memories, for me too. You mentioned the name Jack Serowitz. I saw him a few months ago at the Dragon Boat race in Sparta. He's a police officer. He's got a family and everything. That kind of success should make you proud to see your athletes like that succeed. You're listening to WRSK 97.5 in the Skylander sports scene. My guest today is Todd Poltersdorf. He's former SCCC baseball coach between 1994 and 2011. He's currently employed here at the college full-time as the director of admissions. So tell me a little bit, when you started having that breakthrough and that success, did you look for specific skills, or were you looking for specific types of personalities, or was it just, hey, this player's good, let's get him and let's see if we can mold him?
Well, it really became to trying to find the best fit for us and the way that we coach and my coaching style. I'm tough on players. I'm very, very, very tough on players, and I demand a lot from them. I don't want to use the word perfection, but that's kind of what drove me. But we never over-recruited, so I didn't go out and recruit 30 shortstops. And, arms obviously was our number one priority. We wanted to find as many arms as we quality can, kids who could throw strikes, kids who had composure on the mound, kids who when you hit a wall, they weren't just going to ask to come out of the ball game. So that's the mentality. We just wanted kids who were tough, who had good athleticism, and who were good listeners. And, you go through that by, we would see the staff, between the staff and myself, we'd see over 250 baseball games from the time high school season to the end of the summer, all of us combined. So we were always out there recruiting the younger kids up, but it was really just trying to find a quality kid who wasn't going to give up no matter what. And that's kind of the kid we kind of gravitated to. Not necessarily the best player on their high school team, but you see something about him, a spark. And you would always say when you play against a team, that's the type of kid I want to play for me. Well, that's what we tried to do. We tried to have 9 guys in the field that had that same makeup and attitude. And I think as we ran deeper into our program, you could start to see those guys more and more be on the field.
Yeah, I think every coach loves those kids that you go watch a ball game and you see a kid, and he's not the best kid on the field talent-wise, but there's just something about him. There's no quit to him. He's given everything he's got. He's working hard. He has that look in his face of that willingness to learn, and listen, and a lot of coaches love those types of kids to get into their program.
I think the greatest thing that I've ever received as a coach is when I stepped down in 2011, the amount of phone calls that I received from coaches, not only in our conference, in our region, but outside of the state and teams we played in Florida. And the number one thing they kept saying is we hated playing you guys because we knew that it would be a baseball game and it was going to be, tooth and nail all the way through and through. And that's kind of who we were, that's kind of our identity. Did we necessarily have the best talent out there? Not necessarily, but we scrapped and we worked hard and we were competitive and we tried to bring that out into every single game that we played. And I think for a long period there, it worked well for us.
Now, you're in the business of still recruiting students, not specifically student athletes, but students in general. Here at the college, you have an extremely important job regarding enrollment. And the college has started a number of new initiatives, and I've seen you speak to incoming students as freshmen, what they are to look forward to, here at the college. How important is it for an incoming student to get involved, whether it be athletics or something else?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what separates us from a lot of community colleges that are out there. You know, we are very traditional age, meaning that we have, you know, between ages 17 and 21 is a bulk of our population. So we're very different from most community colleges that are out there in the United States. But I think the number one thing that separates us is that we want our kids to get actively involved in campus life, whether it's obviously in the classroom, but outside the classroom. Get involved in student government, get a club, get involved in an athletic sporting, you know, do something to get yourself. We just don't want you to drive here, get out of your car, go to class, get back in your car and drive home. It really does pay huge dividends, especially when you transition to your next level or even into the job market. It's really being able to network and identify and have conversation with people. I think that's extremely important. And I think Sussex does a great job of doing that, unlike a lot of other community colleges that are out there.
Yeah, I think students can learn so much outside the classroom. You know, don't get me wrong, our professors are fantastic here. They do a great job of teaching our young men and women here. In the classroom and the courses and whatever majors they choose. But that involvement piece is so key, so that they can learn and experiment different types of things in life, whether it is student government or campus life, something in campus life.
And the other thing that's great, and you touched on, is our faculty are accessible. So, I used to tell students all the time, when I was in college, I would learn more going into my professor's room and having a conversation or over a cup of coffee or something than I would learn in the classroom. And that's a great thing about our faculty here is that goes on every day here. Our faculty door is always open. They're always encouraging students to talk to them, not only about their class, but other things that they can get involved on campus. So I think that's important, and faculty does a great job of that here.
All right, let's talk a little bit about your current job, Director of Admissions, and like I said, very important role here at the college to grow enrollment, and enrollment kind of ebbs and flows during the course of time, and you've been doing this for a number of years as well. And we've started some new initiatives under the current president, Dr. John Conley, to attract students. So what is your job like? What do you need to do?
Stressful.
What do you need to do to get students?
Right.
You know, you got to get out in the community. You got to meet people. You got to meet counselors, people at high schools, and so on and so forth. Talk a little bit about that.
Absolutely. So our admissions office consists of really 3 people. So it's myself, the director, Julie Flegel, who's our office administrator, who without her, we go nowhere. And then Ryan Kazamata, who actually is an assistant baseball coach now. So the 3 of us, our job is to promote the college at various events, not only on our campus for things like open houses or maybe the tours coming on campus from a specific high school or middle school, but it's also getting out in the community. You know, Ryan is at all the college fairs. He's out there at lunch visits. He's trying to cultivate students to have an interest in Sussex County. And it's our job, the 3 of us, to promote all the great things that go on here from the day in and day out basis. So it really is just getting out there and making people aware of all the great things that are happening on our campus.
And if there's somebody out there this morning listening to us and they're thinking maybe about taking a course at the college, whether they're a traditional age student or a non-traditional age student, what's the best way to go about reaching out to them?
So anybody who's interested in taking any classes, obviously the easiest way is to reach out to the admissions office and either shoot us an email or give us a phone call. The other is visit our website. We are in the process of going through a new website, and hopefully we'll have it up and running sometime mid to late spring. So we're really excited about that. But our current website is still great to get all the knowledge and all the key numbers that you need to do. And I definitely encourage people to explore. And then obviously the next piece is to take a campus tour. Come up, give us a call, see what's going on. Even if it's you want to take a painting class or you're thinking about maybe doing a paralegal degree, just come up, take a look at campus. And I guarantee you, once you step foot on our campus, you'll fall in love with it and the faculty and the staff who are here.
You mentioned Julie in your office, Julie Flegel. He's been at the college for a number of years. She's certainly a key person for you, as well as Ryan Kazamata, who assists you in the enrollment efforts. Julie is the epitome of what this college is about. There's so many people that work here at the college, and I think the customer service is extremely high here that I've seen in the years that I have been. and that piece is so important in the area that you work in. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely, and she's really the glue that kind of keeps us together. She's the frontline person. She's receiving the phone calls. She's receiving the emails. She's the one who's getting all that information out to the students who are requesting it. So she really does an outstanding job. And I tell people this all the time. I'm spoiled. I always say she's the best employee in the college because of the amount of work that she does. And for the longest time, up until a year ago, it was just the two of us. So you could imagine handling all those inquiries and accepts and letters and everything for just two people. And she never complains, and she shows up and she does a great job. And we would be lost without her, you know.
Yeah, we have a lot of people like that here, and a lot of people, long-time employees that have been doing this year after year, you know, in our various offices, in our registrar's office, in the academic area, and so on and so forth. So I think the people are extremely friendly here and really want to help, you know, help students along their way. Let's talk a little bit about, you know, your big thing is enrollment, you know, and I'm sure the president is saying, what's the numbers like? Well, you know, where are we at? You know, what do we foresee going in the future? What kind of new initiatives has the college undertake over the last, you know, couple of years or so to attract students, new programs and things
Absolutely.
like that?
Well, Dr. Connolly, in my eyes, has done an outstanding job. You know, we've gone so many years without adding new programs or nothing, just staying stagnant. In the last 2 years, the amount of programs that we've rolled out, both from transitioning from a four-year school or programs like cosmetology to enter the job market, it is truly amazing the amount of programs that we have offered. You know, over 17 new programs. That number one is going to help with enrollment, and that's a huge aspect of it. And I think the other thing is that we're not afraid to try new things. You know, so 2 years ago we launched SOAR, which is Student Orientation, Advising, and Registration. So we looked at a different way of bringing our students on campus and actually getting them enrolled through the process. You know, and it was a 2-year pilot program that we just did with high school seniors. Now we're going to do it with the entire incoming freshman, whether you're a transfer, new student, or you're a 48-year-old male who wants to take an art class. Things like that, new programs, new way of onboarding our students, these are all things that are going to lead to better enrollment as we move forward. So I think those are just a few things that we're excited about as we move forward.
Yeah, there are a lot of good things happening here at the college, you know, over the last couple of years, and going forward, more things are planned. It's exciting. You know, we had some new additions in the athletics as far as gym lighting and gym floor, and new fitness center was just opened this past fall. The administration here is investing back into the college. It's really good to see, and I think that also motivates the employees here as well, you know, to see that. And we're excited, you know, about new students coming in and wanting to help them. I wanted to ask you this question. How would you assess things over the last 3 or 4 years? Like I said, we made changes and we're making some inroads. We still got work to do. But how would you assess things over the last 3 or 4 years overall at the college?
Well, you know, we all know that the college had went through some tough times there, you know, 5-6 years ago. And I can honestly say, and very happy to say, that things have changed here so much in the direction and the positivity. And like you said, there's the willingness to roll up our sleeves and go to work every day and really take on added work responsibilities with no complaints. All those little things fit into the puzzle that allow us to be the institution we are. You know, and you talked about it's the little things. You know, we just did a brand new commercial and it's airing now. And just to see just the infrastructure, the roads being paved, it really has set a great attitude within the institution, being able to say, you know, we're proud that we are here, and we're proud again of the great things that are going on here. And that took time, you know, Dr. Connolly, you know, give him all the credit. Those are things that he realized when he interviewed and needed to change, and they have changed. And, you know, we all owe it to him and his executive team and all the great things that are developing here as we move forward. And lastly, building relationships that maybe were a little beaten up over the years. He has been able to come in and really kind of strengthen those relationships and getting those people back on board with us. And that's huge. I mean, it's just unbelievable. The transformation that we have occurred in the last 2 to 3 years has been truly remarkable.
Yeah, the administration has really pulled a lot of people together, and everybody pulling in the right direction here, and a lot of exciting things happening here at the college. You're listening to the Skylander Sports Scene on WRSK 97.5. My guest this morning, Todd Poltersdorf, former baseball coach here at Sussex County Community College and current director of admissions. I'm going to flip back to the sports side now. Yankee or Met fan?
No, there's not even a question to ask us. I've been a diehard Yankee fan my whole life, starting in 1969 when I was born. So, yeah, Mets are – I feel sorry for Met fans, knowing that you are one.
Going back and forth now, as we have over the years, about me being a Met fan, you being a Yankee fan, and which team is going to do what this year and who's going to be successful. The Yankees obviously spending more money than God, bringing in Stanton and all these other guys. They got Judge in the lineup. They're going to probably hit maybe 400 or 500 home runs this year at Yankee Stadium. New manager, Aaron Boone. What do you think the outlook is? A World Series or bust, I guess.
Well, baseball has changed so much. You know, it's not with the old days, Casey Stengel, being sitting in the corner of the dugout. It really became, a math game now, numbers, crunching numbers, what guys matches up better with this guy. And I think it really comes down to, the millennial generation and being able to communicate with your team, with your players, and I guess the hierarchy in the Yankee organization feels that he's going to do that the best. And I think that is really where managing is going to go. It's going to be more of, stroke the ego and really get that player to believe, in those math statistics that he is going to succeed. So I hope it works out. I'm a big fan of Aaron Boone. I think he was a great player. And you've been in a dugout, you've been in Major League Baseball since you were 3 years old. So I'm assuming you understand the game.
Yeah, the game, has changed. Sports has changed in general. They throw that term out now, analytics.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's looking at the numbers and what the matchups are and everything. And I'm kind of I'm a Casey Stengel type of guy. You kind of coach and manage by feel, but not so much anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so much that goes into the equation and the amount of money that is being spent for player salaries and so on and so forth. Well, you're still in the coaching game.
I am.
Talk a little bit about that. I know you're coaching over at Walkill Valley High School.
Yeah.
You're giving back to the community over there.
Yeah. I always tell my kids that no matter what you do in life, you do something that's passionate. And obviously coaching is the most passionate thing for me outside of my family. So we have this is my first year at Walkill. I spent the last 2 years prior to that at Sussex County Technical School. And I'm just happy to be back. Football has always been a passion of mine. I started out coaching football, at 19 years old at Pope John under Vic. So it just kind of carried on, and I'm excited to be back coaching football. I do miss coaching baseball. I tell my wife all the time, when I retire, I will go back as an assistant maybe for a 4-year school and just kind of go back to the teaching phase of it. But I love being around the kids. I love being able to teach. So it's been great for me.
Well, Coach, I want to thank you for joining me today. I appreciate taking your time out of your busy schedule and attracting students here to Sussex County Community College and shedding some light and walking down memory lane of the baseball program here at Sussex and talking about the good things that are happening at Sussex County Community College.
My pleasure. Thanks, John.
You've been listening to the Skylander Sports Scene right here on WRSK 97.5, your cruising oldies station.